let's go ahead and start off with episode 18 by going into Space Engineers. And we're going to load my ship development world. It's an empty world. Not a damn thing in it, except for some asteroids. There's not even an AI. I've got everything turned off. I will be in survival. I'm sorry, in creative. Now, do you have, Clint, do you have any schemes that you use when building ships in Space Engineers?
You mean like schematics or
well,
just
no,
general themes?
Specifically, do's and don'ts.
I'm kind of a like a keep it simple, stupid sort of thing, where I find the more I tend to add, one of the other streamers calls it greebling or whatever, where the more I tend to add armor and things just to make it look pretty, the less functional the craft usually tends to be. I'll just have a cockpit and some thrusters slapped to it.
Well, I definitely started out in that vein, and so in many ways this is kind of an evolution for me in working on things. This is my first ship that I've tried using the symmetric mode for building. So
yeah, the symmetric mode helps a lot. I like that.
Oh
mode.
Yeah, and it definitely helped me fill out things fairly fast. This particular ship, I built the interior first. Oh, dang it. And now I'm getting ready to skin it, but it is small blocks. I've got a bunch of large cargo containers, hydrogen tank, don't know what I'm gonna do with this room yet, passenger area, and surprisingly the ship does get up and go. And quite possibly it's going to work for going on planets as well, because I'm using hydrogen for the most part. And now I'm just trying
you better have some pretty big tanks on that, or else it's gonna
run out fast. You're right.
Real quick, yeah.
You're absolutely right, and that's one of the things I've been thinking about, using this secondary room right over here. I could fit at least 2 tanks in here, I think, no problem. And I have one already. Yeah, I've got one hydrogen tank here, and then on the other side I have an oxygen tank. And I just in tests that I've done thus far, I definitely need more. And I'm trying to decide whether I should take out a few of these large cargo containers and replace one of them or 2 with hydrogen, and then also filling in more in here over here with hydrogen, because I do run out of that really fast. Now, Clint was telling me that he likes to play a lot of old games, 90s era, 80s era. Now, yep. I'll tell you right now, my first FPS was Wolfenstein 3D in 1998. Oh, that was a great one. Oh yeah, it's the original, and it started everything, literally. But that kind of dates me in a way. But do you play Wolfenstein much?
Yeah, a little bit. It tends to be a little simplistic. A lot of the value of it is just kind of like the maze design, trying to find your way around the maze.
Do you have the map editor?
I do. I haven't really messed around with it too much, but usually I'm like, there's always so many different games that I'm hopping between that I don't really tend to modify them that much, other than just to make them look better.
Yeah, I don't do much hopping. I usually stick to several different genres of games, RPGs, um, survival games, sandbox games, um, flight simulators, and as far as FPSs are concerned, Battlefield. Um, I'm always up for Left 4 Dead 1 or 2. Either one of those I'll play. I like playing Call of Duty in the campaign. I hate Call of Duty multiplayer.
Yeah, I've only tried Call of Duty multiplayer a few times, and I don't know. I just don't have the what do they call that? The tolerance for getting killed that many times in a second.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that part of it doesn't necessarily bother me. What bothers me about Call of Duty is that it favors the person who has no life and spends all their time on Call of Duty. And I'm not saying that people who play Call of Duty all the time don't have a life, but you do have people who literally they just don't do much of anything, and then they will spend a lot of time on there. And it happens to be younger people mostly that have a lot of extra time, and they spend they know every crook and crevice of the map, and so they tend to have an advantage that has nothing to do with actual tactical ability. It's rote memorization really at that juncture. So I've never liked that about Call of Duty in a multiplayer environment. But my big thing is that it's just so limited. The only thing you can do is run around and shoot people. That's why I trend towards games like Arma and Battlefield, because you can drive tanks, you can fly a helicopter, you can. There's more realism as far as that goes, I think. But now, do you play anything like WoW or EVE Online or any type of online games of that nature?
Generally, anything with like a monthly fee, I've decided to kind of just stay away from. So I used to play Star Trek Online a lot. I still hop into that every once in a while.
Well, that's a free one, right?
Yeah. That is free now. So that's really the only one I tend to like go to for MMO based. But yeah, when it first started, that was a paid per month sort of thing. So I kind of avoided it for a while.
If Star Trek Online had worlds like WoW, I think that it would be a much stronger game. And what I mean is that WoW, when you play WoW, it feels like this big contiguous world, that there isn't levels and or like you're in a roller coaster or on a train track, just going through the motions, you might say. But I loved the space combat in Star Trek Online, though. To me, that's the absolutely the strongest part of the game, and I play it on occasion as well. And I love getting into battles with the Borg or with people or whatever. There's really a lot of room for somebody with genuine skill and talent, or knowing what needs to be done immediately. Boosting shields, getting that done before the other guy can just literally make a huge difference on whether you win or lose. And I like that in a game. It's just not the person who can shoot first and fastest and most accurately. There are other factors involved in it, and I liked that about that game. Now, did you ever play the Old Republic?
You mean the MMO or the?
Yeah. Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO.
Yeah. I've played that for a while. I kind of like I would get to about level 20 or 30 or so, and then just that experience penalty for being a free player kind of just keeps bugging me enough because I just kind of give up. So I've done the first bit, several times, basically every class.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing that I've gone through myself as it applies to that game in particular, because you really are. I had a friend, he was paying, and he started a new character, and I had been working on my character for a week, and he came in there, and within, you know, like an evening, like 4 or 5 hours, he had gotten up to my level and passed me, but he was paying.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was kind of, I don't know. It's not so much that I am jealous or am knocking them for using that type of system, but it's really disincentivizes you to want to play if you're not going to pay. Now, have you played Ark at all?
No, that one I haven't.
You haven't tried Ark? I highly recommend it. If you if you like sandbox games, if you at all liked Minecraft, if you at all like dinosaurs, then, and if you like any type of PvP type of game, it's well worth your time.
So you're talking about Ark Survival of the Fittest, or
Survival Evolved?
Survival Evolved.
Right. And it's been out as a Steam beta, you know, game for what do they call that? The Steam blah, 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 and I'm brain farting on that. Well, whatever.
Early access.
Early access. That's right. It's been out there for a while as a beta for about, I would say about a year, maybe a year and a half, I think. And I started playing it some time ago, but I didn't really play it a lot. And then I got myself a server. And generally, any type of online game where I can have my own server, I will go ahead and do that. Especially if I'm going to commit any amount of time to it. And me asking you what kind of games you played, in particular, space sims or anything of that nature. The reason for that is that if I can find other games that in some way, shape, or form that have a server or a multiplayer type of game that I can also stream that, I will absolutely do that. And so I'm always on the lookout for other games that I can play other than Space Engineers. So if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears. Okay, I don't know what the heck I want to do this thing. I know that I need to do... One thing I've been reluctant to do is to put in any type of programming blocks or timers on this particular ship, because Keen is about ready to release a patch for Space Engineers that is going to totally do away with the timer blocks.
Getting rid of the timer blocks? I thought they were just messing around with rotors.
Well, they're always messing around with rotors. I'm not really sure, but there was a thing that came out here. Let me see if I can find it on. Here we go. Let me, if you hear my cat meowing in the background, I've told him to shut up, but he's not listening to me. Okay.
What kind of cat is that, anyways?
Oh, it's just a stupid cat.
Just a generic tabby sort of thing.
Well, no, he looks like a Siamese, but his mama was a tabby, so it's not like Here, let me show you what he looks like.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of problem trying to see your stream right now. So right.
Yeah, this is. I had been doing these every day, and I literally just got fed up with. And I'm trying to find a different service because YouTube. My speed tests are great, but whenever I stream to YouTube, I'm dropping frames like crazy. There's the dang cat sitting there meowing at me, wanting something. Stupid cat. And he's gonna sit there and meow, and meow, and meow, and meow, and meow. Little guy. But yeah, this was Keen Software put this out just recently. And where was that at? They are working on the rotor block API. Overhauled that, so yes, you're absolutely right. They're overhauling that. Fixing the pitch. They're going to fix the git mass. They're rebuilding the entire IM config. Or my config. But where is that thing about the timer blocks? There we go. The most exciting new feature is that timer blocks no longer require, or program blocks no longer require timers. So I have to, all of my ships, I have programming blocks, I have timers, and now they're getting rid of timer blocks, and that's great. I'm glad about that. But if I'm going to work on a ship, should I, you know, go to all the trouble when the timer block is going away? I don't know.
Well, the timer block, I don't think they'll be getting rid of it. I think they're just making it so they're not needed for the programming block. Timer blocks are still useful for other things.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. They are very useful for a great number of things, honestly. Especially.
So I think
go ahead.
Yeah, so I think chances are that what they're going to be doing is making it so if you have it currently set up with a script and a timer block, it's still going to work the same as before. Mm-hmm. But when you're setting up a new one, you can just tell the timer block to, not the timer block, the programming block trigger itself. If by what you're talking about, the description there make any sense.
Oh yeah, it makes sense, plenty of sense. Yeah, the most that they're saying as far as the timer block is concerned is that they're going to change the interface for the programming block so that you can select whether or not the script runs every 1, 10, or 100 ticks. Sounds great. Now, if they keep the timer block the way it is, to where you can trigger things on a delay and make it self-referencing and things like that, so you can use it as a timer, that's great too. And I can actually see, even with the timer block not being necessary, still using it in conjunction with these new features of the programming block. But it will affect how you design your ships. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At least I can already see how it's going to affect how I'm going to build my ship. But I'm going to go ahead and put in a few right now. So what part of the country do you live?
Oh, I live in Canada, over in Alberta.
And what do you do for a living?
Normally I just fix computers remotely over the internet, just general IT stuff, managing
right.
servers and desktops and stuff like that. Right now I'm kind of in between jobs, but yeah.
Well, I definitely, I can't empathize right now with that. I'm gainfully employed, but what I will say is that that is something that I think most all gamers you'll find are probably computer techs to some degree or another, or could serve as computer techs if they wanted to. Now, are you self-taught, or did you go to school or anything of that nature?
Mostly self-taught.
Well, yeah.
The little schooling I did was just to get the certificates, and it was stuff I already knew.
Right, right. Okay, let's grab a timer real quick. Let's grab my program block. Drop that there. Oops.
So what are you planning on using the programming blocks for?
Well, in some ways they are cosmetic. In other ways, like in this particular instance, they'll serve a purpose, and the purpose will be these LCDs right up here. And I have a lot of different scripts that I'm not even using yet. I haven't installed them on this. I literally just came up with this the other day, this ship. And let's see, what do I want to put on here? We want to put power. And my color scheme applied. Let's see, how does that look? I think I'm going to have to make that a little bit bigger. That's a little bit better. But I have a series of text panels right there that will display relevant information. On this particular ship, I'll probably also utilize the Artificial Horizon script, and I will probably put it right here. Yeah, ultimately, I want this to be a ship that is a transport ship for going onto planet surfaces and things of that nature. At least that's where I'm kind of...
For cargo or just personnel?
Personnel and cargo. But the cargo itself won't necessarily be large cargo. I do have a connector right here for transferring large amounts of items, but it's for people and supplies that could be carried on. At least that's kind of what my thinking is on it.
Kind of like the cockpit area. That area looks nice.
Yeah, it's this is where I started right here, and as I've been working backwards, I have kind of refined things and changed things. And at first, this cockpit was totally parallel. The floor just went out here, and these seats were up a level or a block, and and the floor wasn't glass, it was metal. And then I started thinking, you know what? When I come in for a landing, it really helps to be able to see below you. So let's make the whole cockpit glass. Now my intent is to go ahead and the underskin is heavy armor, and then the outer skin is going to be a light armor. And it's not going to cover 100% of everything. There's going to be gaps here and there. But then I'm going to put a landing gear system on it that actually raises this up, probably about 4 or 5 blocks into the air when it's on a platform. It's going to be several blocks high. I don't think more than 5, but it's definitely going to be raised up a bit.
So you're going to be using modded landing gear blocks for that, or just?
Yes, I will use landing gear blocks for that. Oh, we got some damage here. So we're going to have to come up with a different scheme here, because this is definitely going to damage those blocks.
Yeah, apparently they're changing the thruster damage model again.
Yes, I read about that, and that's, yeah. And I'm okay with that. I really am. There's a lot of things that they could do and they could change that would be I would be good with. In the end, though, I think that the focus Keen software has on this game versus what I would like to see them do are absolutely two different things. That's for certain. I talked with one guy, and his opinion was that what Keen originally intended this game to be was just a game where you built ships and then you went and battled each other. There was never an intention of being a first-person mode to the game at all. Now, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know how much credence to put in that, but this one.
This seems to go along with what I've heard as well. So yeah.
One thing for certain, I think the game has a ton of potential, but I also think that if it doesn't achieve that potential, it's only Keen's fault.
Yeah, I've always thought this game had potential, but I also thought this game had potential like 2 years ago. Now it's kind of along the lines of, why are they taking so long?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We are in 100% agreement. In fact, the gentleman that I was talking to that had told me that about Keen Software, he said that he had applied with Keen and interviewed with them, and the only reason he did not take the job is because he has children and they wanted him to move to the Czech Republic.
Wow, that's quite the move.
Yeah, that would be quite the move. And it's not necessarily a country I'd want to move to. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Czechs. It's just I don't think I'd want to move to Czechoslovakia. Well, it's not Czechoslovakia anymore. It's Czech Republic. Slovakia and the Czech Republic. 2 different countries now. But yeah.
Yeah, I just know so little about that area that I don't know. Just that alone kind of scares me.
What, that it's in basically Eastern Europe, or?
Well, yeah, I just know nothing about like their culture or their people.
Well, Prague. It's Central European, so it's much like Germans or Austrians. the big thing is that it was part of the Iron Bloc during the Cold War, and it was one of the countries who was always resistant to the Soviet Union, but they were still part of that sphere of influence. And after the end of the Cold War, they really embraced the West quite a bit, and essentially just kind of gave up on any of the communism or the whole Marxist thing that had been drilled into them for years. You know what? I am not feeling inspired on this right now, so I am going to go ahead and see if we can get this bad network taken care of. God, this is making me crazy. Now, YouTube is reporting good stream health.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Um,
I mean, like, not that you're saying it's reporting good health.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think it's wrong.
Yeah, I know it's wrong, because here I'm gonna go ahead and reveal what OBS is showing. Yeah, I'm gonna show everybody what's going on here.
What bitrate are you uploading to?
I think I have it set on 4, but it's only doing at best 1000 kbs.
Okay, and you're saying you ran some speed tests on it earlier. Did you run? What did it say your maximum upload was rated at?
It was rated at 5.
5. Okay, so 4 might be a little too close to that.
Megabits per second.
Yeah, bits, not bytes.
Yeah, not bytes. No, that's ridiculously fast. You said bytes.
Yeah, mine will sometimes peak to 3, but I wish. Like bytes, megabytes. Which is really annoying because my download is 150 megabytes.
There,
and
look
I'll
at that.
frequently get 200.
Can you see this down here? Look at this. Okay, now it's I've got green, but in this session so far, I've dropped 90% of the frames.
Yeah, that's pretty. That goes along with what I'm saying here.
Yeah, and it definitely goes along with what I'm saying, because I've got my phone sitting over here as well. I'm watching it from through my cellular.
Oh, there it goes.
My mobile service. So I'm. Now it doesn't look too bad, but let's go into the settings here. I'll show you what I've got on that.
What sort of CPU do you have?
Oh my God, you'd have to ask me that.
Well, I mean, like, just general. Is it an i7?
It's an i7.
i9?
Should be an i7. I could have swore it's an i7. Yeah, i7. There it is right there. i7 4790.
4790. Okay, yeah, I used to have one of those, but my motherboard didn't like it.
And if I don't have any problems. And sometimes, some days, I get really good bandwidth and throughput with YouTube. I've tried streaming to Twitch, and I sometimes have equally bad rates, so I'm not.
And your the computer you're playing the games on and the computer you're recording this on are the same machine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I doubt you're running into a CPU issue, because Space Engineers isn't the biggest like CPU hog on that.
No, well, it is on one CPU, but that's totally.
Yeah. And you do have it set to the ultra fast preset, because that'll make the biggest difference there. Is if you have that set too high, that will definitely drop some frames and stuff like that.
Now, if you're looking at it right now, you can see my utilization and my throughput on my processor is only
3.8.
Yeah, it's low. It's not that great. So I'm not taxing the system any. This quite literally is internet related and YouTube related. I don't know if YouTube's throttling. I don't know. It's probably are. But enough of that. I actually need to go check my world, make certain that my ships aren't being destroyed or...
Oh, you still have it open?
Oh, yes. I have 2 Space Engineer servers. One of them is essentially a role-playing server. Then I have another which is going to be a PvP server, and I'm writing some scripts. Well, I'm actually creating a whole mod and modding the Proving Grounds. Or it's not the Proving Grounds, the Rival Platforms world, and I'm going to call that the world that I create that I will publish onto Steam Workshop. I'm going to call it Proving Grounds, but essentially it's going to set up 3 contests: a race, a pirate raid, and a team deathmatch, and accumulate scores for each person, as well as accumulate a team score, because you're still going to have your red and your blue teams, but members of each team could, well, whoever's the overall winner, I'm going to buy them Call of Duty through Steam.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah. And I have that planned for December the 2nd. Now, you were telling me about some of the games that you play from the 90s. What other games do you play from the 90s? Actually, tell everybody what games you play and your setup you have.
Oh, yeah, probably one of my favorites is Tyrion. I have kind of an interesting setup here. I tend to collect gaming rigs from like multiple different eras. The one I'm messing around with right now is a AMD K62 Plus, or is it K63? No, it's K62 Plus at 400 megahertz. And that's running Windows 98. I got a Voodoo 2 graphics card in there, and that's paired with a ATI Rage 128 Pro graphics card for the 2D stuff. And probably the most expensive part in there was the AW64 Gold Edition card I have, just for a sound card. That's mostly just to play a lot of the older games. Like that particular setup and motherboard has a useful feature on it where I can underclock the CPU, so it'll run at like 33 megahertz or 100 megahertz, pretty much anything I want for early to late 90s. And that'll make it so I can play way more games than any typical classic gaming rig can.
Nice. And a lot of people who weren't alive in that era really don't appreciate what a big deal having an AW64 sound blaster with that. I mean, that was a big deal back then, that particular card.
Because, yeah, I think that was like a $600 card when it was new.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't recall how much it actually cost. I really don't, but it was expensive. It absolutely if you wanted to play have good sound, it was a necessity. It really was. Now
yeah, the thing is literally gold plated.
That's
which
cool.
is back in the day was really pointless, but nowadays actually it tends to have a bit of a like it I'm actually glad it is, because there's no rust on it, and the sound I'm getting off of it, like from the contacts and everything, almost brand new quality, like very, very little interference, where any of my other sound blasters from that era, very noisy.
Well, if you've ever taken electronics, gold is one of your best conductors. So that is not surprising.
Yeah, copper is a better conductor, but I've seen a lot of rusted copper contacts in my days.
Well, one of the reasons why gold is one of your best conductors is because it doesn't corrode. Not like copper.
Yeah, the other thing that's useful with that card is you can expand its memory. So I have a 32 meg expansion card plugged into it. I had to get some guy in China to make it. But yeah, what that'll do is it'll make it so I can load something called sound fonts, which will let that card basically emulate other sound cards.
Interesting. Now, what are you doing? What do you need that capacity, that capability for?
Well, originally when I got it, I wanted to use that to mostly just play around with, make weird things. But I wanted it to emulate a old Roland MT32 synth or a newer SC55. There's also some Yamaha synthesizers that some games sound better in. Ultimately, it was kind of a failed project because it never just sounded right. And I found another solution that works better.
Are you a musician?
No, not really, but I do tend to play around with a lot of that sort of stuff. Like I like doing little remix things where I'll take an old Nintendo game, rip out the MIDI data from the game save itself, change around some notes, and then reassign everything over to electric guitar, and then just listen what it sounds like as like a rock remix.
Right, yeah.
Sometimes it sounds like, well, most of the time it sounds like trash. Sometimes it actually sounds really neat. But I have like very little musical skills. I don't like to call myself a musician.
Fair enough. Okay, this baby's stuck on the ground. Why isn't she taking off? Engines are on. Swore
Did it somehow get set as a station?
No, it just wasn't wanting to move. Fortunately, I have shields on this baby. She's taking off now.
Yeah, I really like that shield mod.
Oh yeah,
There's another mod I've been looking at. What was it? The build and repair system.
the nanite mod.
No, it's like the nanite mod, but it's a lot more reliable than that one was. Basically, it does the same thing though. Little nanites go and build stuff for you.
Right. I'm absolutely, positively, totally sold on the nanite mod and absolutely do use it. I don't have it on this particular world, but I have it on some of my others. Well, the Proving Grounds world that I am creating, that will have the nanite mod. One of the reasons for that is so that when somebody, I'm going to allow people to build their own ships if they want to. So I have a central space station. You know what? I'm just going to go over to that particular world, and I need to get this ship off the ground, and I need to get this over to my other base first. So
Yeah, and letting people copy and paste ships is just gonna invite nothing but claims. So
right. So
letting them print it's probably better.
Exactly. I'm having a whole space station set up to where they can use the nanite mod. Instead of using welders, we'll just use the nanites, build your own ship. If you want,
the welders never tend to print them right.
I was talking with a guy on Facebook about this particular topic, and he had this set up, and he was wanting to know if it would work, and I made that point to him that a lot of times the welders, they will leave voids in the middle of uh, of something you're building that just it didn't weld it all the way. And, I
Yeah, in
found
order
if
to do anything close to functional on that, you got to have something like rotors on a piston with a welder attached, spinning around at a special. That's just nothing good at all.
well, one thing I found is if you let the welder just sit there in one position until it literally just stops welding, then move it half a block, then let it sit there and sit there until it just stops welding, then move it, draw it back another half a block. That tends to, when it stops welding, that means that it can't find anything else to weld. You know, one of the things that I've found in a lot of these builder systems is they try to, in a very linear, smooth fashion, draw the welders across as if everything's going to be welded at the same rate, and it's not. You have to slow it down and just literally wait for some stuff to completely weld, and you know when it's done because the welder quits. It just quits welding when it's finds nothing else that it can weld. Yeah, it is flaky, and the nano builders, they're much more efficient. They do that job well. Okay. I've actually got several bases in this world, and I keep it cleaned up pretty good, so even with multiple people coming in and playing it, my sim speeds stay pretty consistent. Usually never drop below 5, but it does happen. Like in these particular instances, had a bunch of stuff just got spawned. But I do spend a lot of time in here deleting stuff.
Space Master?
Yeah. Let's see. It's going to be 6 minutes to recharge. I can probably make it there in 6 minutes. I found this ship just out exploring, and it's called the Raven, and you can find it on the Steam Workshop. I took and redesigned the entire cockpit, and then redesigned the entire wing. In fact, let me do a little tour. Now, how long have you lived in Alberta? Born and raised?
Yep. 30 odd years.
Excellent, excellent. Originally, go ahead.
Thanks to global warming, it's not quite as cold as it used to be.
Well, yeah. I'm not a big fan of cold, that's for certain. I'm in Kansas, and it does get down into, it doesn't get Canada cold, that's for certain. But it does get cold. But our winters have absolutely been fairly mild for a good... It's weird. Sometimes we'll have some winters that are bitterly cold, but not much as far as precipitation. But then we'll have other winters where it's not cold at all, but it just rains all the time. But yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to handle Alberta even with warmer temperatures. Because even with warmer temperatures, I see you probably experience probably at least minus 20 Celsius on a regular basis, don't you?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
It's probably negative 15 Celsius right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what that works out to in Fahrenheit.
Well, one time I was watching a Stargate movie, Stargate Continuum, I think it was called. They have a scene where they're in a ship that's trapped in the ice. Oh, I'm being shot at. Great. Thank goodness for those shields.
Yeah, I wonder how long this thing was being shot at.
Well, I can hear the shields going crazy, so. How dare you? Where are you at? Oh, on the other side, on the other side. Okay, he's down. Is my gravity off? My gravity is off. But in the show, they were talking about they were in a ship that was trapped in ice, and they were commenting on how cold it was, and the guy gives the temperature, and he gives it in Celsius. Well, they gives a temperature, and he goes, "Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?" Well, at this temperature, it really doesn't matter, and that's, I guess, the overall point I'm getting at is that whether it's minus 15 Fahrenheit or Celsius, it doesn't matter. That's cold. It's really cold. And I'm not a big fan of cold. I really have never been a big fan of cold. When I got out of high school, I had romanticized living in a mountainous environment, being from Kansas, and it's a plain state, so it's fairly flat.
Yeah, it's fairly flat where I'm at too.
So 3 months out of high school, I moved to Wyoming, a little town called Evanston, and it started snowing on the 9th of September, and it just didn't stop. Well, it stopped snowing once in a while, but the snow never melted. And by February, I was so sick of snow. I hated it and was ready to just leave. So from there I moved to Arizona and checked that out to see what living in a desert environment might be like. And I came to the solid conclusion that I'm not a big fan of winter. At one point in time, I romanticized it quite a bit, but no, not anymore. Okay, what I was saying here on this ship, the Raven, initially this wing was solid. There was no chamber or floor space in this wing at all, and I took and redesigned the entire wing, realigned the motors, the ion drives here, and added space to where I could come in and do repairs while on the fly. But for a found ship, just a derelict, I really like it.
Yeah, the stream's still a couple minutes behind, so I can't even see it right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shh.
Oh, no problem.
Added rooms. Added windows. Lights.
Oh, is that the big ship that you're walking around in now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So I guess I do see it.
One of the things.
Usually these things won't spawn by themselves. Is this like a modded spawn pack or something for pirates, or is this something that was just vanilla that spawned in?
It okay. In Space Engineers now, you know they have the random events. And this is essentially what there. And here, let me see if I can find some others, random ones that have spawned in. Okay, see this combat destroyer, and you'll see this in a minute on YouTube. I didn't create this ship. The combat destroyer is spawned by the game randomly, and the Raven was a similar example of something that spawned in. And they're essentially they're owned by nobody. They're derelict ships. So if you find one, you can claim it. And I found this. I kind of like this ship. I'm thinking I want to find it now. This thing's kind of badass looking. What the hell is that? Is that a... Is that a landing gear? No, certain what that is. But I don't know if you see this thing yet on YouTube.
Yeah, the combat destroyer just came up.
Let's see what it's got on the inside here. Big open chamber. Just a little bit of light to the subject. Reactor.
Yeah, it looks kind of like those landing gears kind of spawned inside themselves.
Yeah, I'm not really certain about those. I'm not really convinced that it's a landing gear, but it looks like one, so that's what I've been calling it, I guess. Well, I've got another assailant coming after me, so I better quit looking at this ship. Local control. I think, yep. Let's just jump this, maybe. That's one way to get rid of them. This particular world, most everything that I have is a recycled ship that I have found. Something I've salvaged.
Well, salvage is definitely one way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Always good to reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Right. 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 Well,
Or
this.
as another YouTube channel likes to claim it, best damn salvage team in the planet.
Yeah. Who is that? Shaq or?
Yeah, that's Shaq. Shaq and Tex.
Well, I have 3 salvages here. Oh, did I hit that too hard? No, I guess not. There's a platform, 8820. I found one of those and I immediately set to making it my own. And surprisingly, a lot of these, they're very limited in what they have. This had no conveyor tubes in it at all. No storage.
So it could just be like a really, really old design before they had any of that stuff.
Could be. So I added additional storage, refinery, assemblers. Went ahead and added connectors in this bay here. And a lot of my ships, especially my small ships, they're this simple right here. I don't really care to make them complex. They're just to serve a function. Everything else is aesthetics, so I'm not really necessarily concerned about it. But this little base here, I took it and really started modifying it heavily. And of course, you'll see this a bit delayed on YouTube.
Yeah, I like the lights you put down there on the floor. It's a nice touch. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with like simple design for basically just a cockpit and a bunch of thrusters.
Right. I mean, honestly, anything else is okay. I will add this caveat, and that is, if you have a fighter craft, layering heavy armor on it increases survivability. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you just got a mining ship and you're going to be putting around your base, you really don't need anything more complex than some storage, cockpit, and control systems. Now myself, I usually kind of go overboard with reactors. So I've got one here, I've got 2 over here, and I've got another one right over here. Oh, what happened to that reactor? Must have got broken off or something. And the reason why I put reactors, a lot of reactors on them, is so I don't go to 100% when I'm trying to move. You know, use 100% of the reactor's capacity. Generally speaking, if you can avoid doing that, your ship's going to fly much better. But
I mean, I like it when ships look all nice and plain-like and, you know, pretty and stuff like that. But if you're just trying to use it for a specific purpose in Space Engineers, unless you have like mods that add tiered thrusters or something to combat it, the armor just gets in your way. Unless it's, of course, for fighting. But other than that, it just gets in your way.
yeah, I tend to agree. One of the things I've been doing a lot of recently is that generally I used to cover everything with heavy armor, but since I use that shield mod, you don't really need heavy armor.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the things I discovered with this platform 8820 was that there was a great big empty crevice inside, and I enlarged that and started making a hangar. And I'm going to go ahead and make an auto builder system to build fighter craft. And then I'm going to launch them out of this cave.
Have you taken a look at the fleet command scripts yet?
Absolutely, and I am. That is exactly what I'm going to be using on this platform here. This platform will be.
Cool.
This will be the command or the central hub, and then I'm going to have a string of fighters that this thing will launch. And then any of my capital class ships that come in and get close, they'll be able to also have the script running and have the blocks on there. And that's not really a mod, it's more of just a script.
Yeah. There was like a sensor mod they wanted to add to that script, but that was about it.
Still have really, really horrible drop frames.
Yep, ton.
Now, it's going down on my end. It says it's at 84%. It was 90%. So it's kind of improving. But my phone shut off, so I haven't been able to look at my phone. Another thing that I found is the space terminal. Spaceport terminal, I think they called it. Which you can also find on the Steam Workshop, and it's one of the ships that get spawned when you have random encounters turned on. Now I did take it, I've layered it with heavy armor. I've added quite a few different touches, catwalks. I've gone through and changed all of the doors from the regular door to a sliding door. I've gone ahead and carried on the theme that the original creators started. They had red, yellow, and green connectors on one side and the blue connector on the other, but the colors didn't really extend across the whole airlock door and whatnot. So I went ahead and it's kind of little things just to kind of spice up the look. Then I also added all of this, all these Gatling guns, all the conveyor tubes, the engines.
It's a heck of a lot of missiles. You wouldn't want to piss that thing off.
Well, I've only got 4 missiles on it. Why is this guy not spawning? The rest of it's Gatlins.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that now.
Yeah.
Anyways, I gotta let my cat out of the room. She's trying to get some attention, so I gotta.
You do that. You do that. But I also went ahead and added this ramp up here on top and this platform. I suppose this is more for anybody watching, more so than Clint. Is letting the kitty cat out. Oh no. I said kitty cat and now my kitty cat starts meowing at me.
Oh, your cat's meowing at you now?
Yeah. But yeah, I went through this one and just kind of spiced it up. A lot of aesthetic things like these red, yellow, and green and blue ramps that go above the entrance to the airlock. Added shields. It has a tower, and I still have that. It originally came with 4 consoles. Now I went ahead and kept the 4 consoles, added in conveyor tubes, added in cryo tanks, some displays. I also added in a 5th flight seat so that I can fly this essentially the direction of movement is towards the ceiling. I put all my big engines on the bottom of the space station, so if I have to get out of there fast from a ship's point of view that's aligned with the floor of the space station, it looks like it just goes up fast. But it has jump drives on it too, so it can jump away if it has to. So what kind of cat do you have?
2. Is it working? Okay, I got some weird beeps on me for a second there. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I have 2 cats. One's kind of like a, I don't know the actual species names, but just like a really fuzzy little gray cat. She's only like 2, and I have a older cat. She's a black, I think it was a Turkish Angora, kind of like a medium length hair. She's about 12. She's 12. And yeah, they both tend to act like kittens a lot.
Yeah, let's see. My seal point colored cat, the one who looks like a Siamese, he's 13. And then I have
that's a pretty good age for a cat, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's getting up there. And then I have another one who's 9, and he's a kind of a tabby, a brown tabby. Let's see here. Hold on a second here, sorry. Okay, I am pulling some pictures up real quick. There you go, there are my cats right there. The seal point one, it's Lucifer. He's the spawn of Satan and can be a very evil cat and very loving.
Oh, okay, yeah, now it's popping up. I see him.
Very loving, and then can turn around and just bite the crap out of you. Very ornery. And then the tabby, his name's Furry Murray, and he's probably one of the friendliest cats I've ever owned. He just loves to be petted and held, and you know, is very gentle and kind to people, and just a really sweet cat. It really is. But yeah, they're kind of getting up there though.
Yeah, it's one of the things I like about cats, though, is they're always unique. Even if you have like two twins raised the same way,
Oh
they'll
yeah,
still.
oh yeah, I totally agree. Um, some people who have never had cats, they tend to think cats don't have any personality, but that's just hogwash. Cats have tons of personality. One of the things that this particular spaceport has is a landing pad, and you'll see it here in a few moments on YouTube. But I haven't completed it yet because I'm still in the process of designing the code to do it, but I've taken their 6-place landing pad that was part of this spaceport when I found it, and I've put lights all around all the pads, and I'm going to have it trigger on the connector. Whenever a ship is docked with the connector, it will trigger the lights to turn red around that connector. But I've got the code kind of halfway written. I haven't completed it yet though.
So if you fly a ship up to it, it'll light up, or is it based on something else?
It's going to remain lit all the time, but a pilot coming up, they'll see if there's a ship on the pad, it will have a red pad. If it'll have a red square around the pad. If it's available, if that pad isn't occupied, then it will have green lights. And it'll give you an idea from a distance, which pad you can land at. And I just haven't finished that code yet. That's something I've been working on. And it's actually kind of a back burner project at this juncture because I've got other things I'm doing.
Yeah, because I know you can just turn them on and off with a sensor block and then just do that with groups, but changing colors is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, and it's not really that complicated. The main reason why that's slowed me down has nothing to do with my code. It has to do with the groupings. I've had this little issue that no matter what I try, for some reason, the groups kind of get disjointed and lights will get turned on that shouldn't be turned on even though they're not part of the group, and I haven't been able to make rhyme or reason out of it, so I kind of stalled my development there. You're not seeing it on your screen yet, but I've walked down into my command and control center that I created on this particular base, and have a holo radar, 5 different control stations for controlling groups of guns. So you essentially have 5 guys in here, and one guy will cover all the guns on one quadrant, and then one for another quadrant and one for the other, and then the 5th guy is just kind of an overall. He can pick and choose what guns and can fill in where he needs to. A bunch of displays here for showing the vitals of the ship, and I can change these on the fly fairly easily.
Using Tim for the inventory stuff?
I do have that running, and it is running on 2 cargo containers, I believe I have it on. Hold on a second, I'm not really certain. Okay, on the reactors, I thought I had that on the large cargo containers. This particular spaceport, It has like 6, I think, large containers. No, it has more than that. Hold on a second. Let's go take a count real quick because I haven't. I think it's 8. Okay, no, there's 8 here, and then 9. There's 10. There's got to be 12 then. Yeah. A lot of the production and storage blocks that are on this spaceport, I didn't put them in. They were already here. What I've done is I've put in a lot of these additional tubes that are running all over the place. Catwalks, LCDs, large reactors. This thing only had one large reactor originally. Right here, it didn't have any batteries in it, so I loaded the baby with batteries. It didn't have a jump drive, so I just threw a jump drive in it. It doesn't take it very far, but it'll get you out of trouble pretty fast. One of the biggest things I did is I removed a lot of blocks out of this so that I could have passageways that allowed me to gain access to different parts of the ship. And I don't even really call this a ship. I call it a battle station.
More like a space station or something like that.
Right, right. Well, that's exactly what it originally was intended as. Because originally, let me see. Okay, I need to pet my cat real quick to quiet him up. Okay, now let's switch over here to... This is what it originally looked like. And it already had the 6 pads on there, and I just took this thing and just started layering heavy armor on it, putting guns on it, because it was totally defenseless, didn't have anything.
Yeah, that does look pretty simplified compared to what you have now.
Oh, yeah. I think somebody else has got another view of it. I added a kind of a observation platform above each connector. Added all the guns to it. Gave it a kind of a darker appearance, but I think it looks better than it did. It's a good. It's a. I've only sustained damage once on this, and that was before I put shields on it. But even then, it was very rare that anything got close to this station. Once I put guns on it, it turned it into a monster. Takes out everything. Okay, let's get out. What the hell is this? Where did that come from?
Just a random piece of scrap metal.
Okay, and I need to take the shield mod apart. I need to decompile it and find out how it actually works. One of the things I've noticed about it is that when you're being attacked by multiple ships, sometimes what will occur is that the enemy ship literally passes through your hull and will deposit pieces of itself within your own ship. And I've gone into battle before. I can hear it. See, you can hear Clang. There's Clang. He's somewhere.
Just rattling on the inside of the hull, going, "Worship me."
Yes, that's exactly what it is. We need to come up with, or I'm not saying we as in you and I necessarily, but if you or I were to do that, that'd be great. But there is no Clang a mascot. There's no Clang character yet.
I don't know, maybe just like like a figurine, almost Lego style of the devil, but constructed of nothing but pistons, rotors, and landing gear.
There you go. Yeah. Are you
I don't
an artist?
I don't think I'd have the ability to make that, but that'd be kind of interesting to see. Just have it like move around in Maya or something like that.
There's definitely some debris floating around here somewhere. Yep, there's something right there. There we go. Let's go get that. Generally what happens is when I get sucked into combat with this ship, it destroys everything, and then this whole ship gets rained with debris, and you'll hear this clanging sound for a good hour or so after it's been in combat.
Until all the stuff just despawns, or
Right.
until, I don't know, it just stops moving around.
Till it despawns. I'm going to try doing a cleanup and see if I can get rid of some of it. But no, it ain't getting rid of it. So let's go here. It's probably going to be one of these small grids. Yep. I'm just going to get rid of all of those. Well, actually, my main reason for coming back to this base was so that I could get some supplies to take to my new lunar base that I was working on. So let me get this baby out of the way. So do you have Space Engineers installed on any of your computers right now?
Yep. On like 3, I think.
Okay.
2 of them at least. I sent a friend request on there. Oh, yeah, I think I see you on there now.
I see that. I just gone over there and... Send you an invite. So what's core?
Killer Otaku Robots. Just a really bad name for your YouTube channel that I've had for, I don't know, probably about 3 years now.
Really? Now you do some podcasts or vlogs yourself, right?
Yeah, mostly anime reviews, but we do some video game stuff too. I did a live stream. It was actually the first live stream I've ever done where it was the planet's release, and haven't done one on Space Engineers since then. So yeah, it's downloading mods right now.
Do you monetize or?
Like, I tell it to, but I don't get any money out of it. My channel's not really big enough for that.
Yeah, I don't even really care to monetize because I don't want to be disappointed if I was started monetizing then have it go away. So
I added a Patreon link and stuff like that. No one's clicked on it, but I didn't really expect them to, so that's fine.
Yeah. Oops, I might have to move that even further. This might have... Well, you know what? Screw it. I will get the resources from that ship. Okay, let's take and spin this baby around. I think one of the things I like about Space Engineers is as far as games go, as far as space simulations go, I should say, is that in some ways they kind of, and I'm not saying in appearance, but in concept, they are working with a lot of the ideas that and systems that we'll probably have in the future. And what I mean by that is that that ships won't be, you know, they'll be built modularly. You'll have a bunch of stock components that you'll take and put together and arrange it for a different, you know, different missions and whatnot. But the root components will be essentially the same. You'll have something similar to an armor block, to engine blocks. And
yeah, something similar to that. That like semi-realism thing is also why I really like the sci-fi show The Expanse. Have you seen that one yet?
Yes, absolutely. That's an excellent show, and in fact, in my opinion, Expanse of all sci-fi that you can watch on television right now probably has it closest to what what it's going to be like in the next 200 years.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great show. When season 2, or I mean, season 3 actually would be the next season, right?
I think early next year. I don't know the exact date.
The last The last episode I had seen was uh, a research team had gone to Venus to find out what had happened to, was it Phobos? Was that the, what was the asteroid that slammed into Venus that had the chick that was infected
I think it was Phobos, yeah. So what spawn point should I choose?
what options do you have?
We'll have planetary lander, Mars planet landing, alien planet landing, respawn ship, escape pod. Actually, I think these are all just ships. Let's see, I don't see any actual spawn points.
Here, hold on a sec.
You might have to set one of your med bays to share with everyone.
See, I'm not even seeing you here, but let me do that real quick.
I'm still in the spawn screen. I might not show up yet. Should I just show up in the spacesuit for now?
I'm doing a share with all. And also, let me turn off my turrets.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
I don't want my guns to shoot you. If even by accident. Okay. And I've got a ton of resources. I've done all this in survival mode, but even then, I've been playing long enough on this particular world that I've accumulated quite a bit. Practically everything that I find, I'll usually go ahead and grind it down and take all the resources. Even the armor blocks, I'll take those.
Okay, I'm in. Which faction should I join?
IMC.
There's an IMDC. Should I join that one? IMDC?
No. That's... Why am I seeing my... Oh, try IM2. I'm sorry. IM2. It's right below IMC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it.
There we go.
Excellent, excellent.
Build whatever you want. This particular world does not have a nanite builder, so unfortunately. But I do have a projector, so if you do have a blueprint, you can manually weld it.
I'm just gonna walk around a bit, check some stuff out.
Sure. We are connected to that space station, so if you experience any weird rubber banding or it decides to kill you, that's probably the reason why.
Well, everything's stationary right now, right?
Yeah. But I've had weird experiences on dedicated servers with connectors. Something about connectors and dedicated servers can create really weird outcomes. And there's some elite rifles here. If you want an elite rifle, grab one from the gun rack. And I have a backup of this, so don't worry about breaking anything. I mean, don't break anything.
Okay, that's good.
But
I'll try not to. Yeah, it looks. The animations look a lot less derpy than the last time I was playing this. Like I said, that was like almost 2 years ago now.
they've definitely cleaned up the textures, and in fact, they made a big to do about how they improved the textures about a year ago. But my biggest complaint about the game is the simulation speeds, and mostly the the spotty nature of the networking engine of this game. It's disappointing. It really is. I am convinced that with better, more efficient programming, they could make a massively multiplayer game instead of this we can barely get 10 people playing type of game.
Yeah, an MMO like experience with this would be pretty epic.
Oh my god, wouldn't it? Can you imagine if you had like 20 people in a ship all fighting against another 20 people in another ship, and people running around repairing things as stuff gets damaged, and actual pilot and captain and gunmen, people, you know, manning the guns and all that. It would just be fucking amazing.
That'd be pretty cool. The closest thing I've seen to that is there's this Guns of Icarus kind of episode thing that Wasted Space did on his channel for a little bit. That was 15 people, 5 people, like three teams of 5, and they had their own ships. That was all in Space Engineers.
Well, see, that's what I kind of want to go for.
And it kind of worked.
Yeah, and that's.
But it was pretty cool. What little that did work.
That's what I'm really wanting to work towards with my Proving Ground worlds is essentially an online experience, dedicated server where people can come together once a month or so and either use the stock capital class ships and fighters that come with the rival platforms world, which I am including, or build your own. And then I've also added a few mods: the shield mod, the energy beam or energy weapons mod, and then some aesthetic mods, like catwalk mod and just some random stuff. But the functional things are the shields for the most part. But I want to have a system where people can get together and compete, and something's taking a tally. You have a final score. Something's going to take about an hour. I would have a lot of fun with that. And to me, it's kind of disappointing that Space Engineers doesn't have that functionality built into it from the get-go.
Yeah, they mentioned some things about adding some stuff for deathmatch and whatnot, but nothing in great depth. I've seen some scripts that help some sort of stuff like that, keeping a tally of scores and death count and all that sort of stuff. But nothing really easy to use, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, to me, that Space Engineers is one of those love-hate type of relationships for me. I love the game because, for multiple reasons, really, it's not one specific thing, but I have my own Minecraft world, okay, and
yeah, I have my own Minecraft world as well,
and so for the most part, I've always liked crafting games and having to build stuff, and you know, the creative aspect of it is something I've always enjoyed. So that part of Space Engineers really does excite me a lot. But then I am a space geek. Anything and everything that has to do with space, with space exploration, science, uh, technology, anything of that nature. I am very much a big geek, and just I eat it up. I love it. I watch everything sci-fi. I really do. Which do you watch Dark Matter?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's a. I haven't seen the last. I think I'm about 6 or 7 episodes behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have seen the first, at least first. What was it, 2 or 3? Like, are they at 3 or 4 seasons right now?
I think that they're to. Well, I think season 3 ended a little bit ago, but since you're in Canada, you're going to have a different schedule than ours. And actually, Dark Matter is a Canadian show, so we might be a 6 months behind you guys. I'm not certain, but I don't think we are. I think
No, they come out at the same time.
yeah.
Like, I have a bunch of American channels on my cable box, and I see the Dark Matter stuff come out on there at the same time as it does on Space Channel, which is our Canadian space channel.
So do you watch any of the British sci-fi?
Mostly just Red Dwarf. Not.
Yeah, I've never got into Red Dwarf. I do like Humans. That's an interesting series.
I've seen the first couple episodes of that. I haven't gotten around to watching the rest, but that did have kind of a neat premise to it.
Yeah,
I did always kind of like the whole android thing for stuff like that. Have you ever seen Westworld?
Oh God, that is
It's so good.
yeah. That to me that's Game of Thrones good. It's one of the most intelligently written series that I can't even really. I think before Westworld, as far as this sci-fi genre, I had Battlestar Galactica kind of like way up there, but Westworld just blew it away completely.
Yeah. I like
season.
Westworld far more than Battlestar.
Well, Battlestar Galactica was a slow roll for me. It was it didn't try to. It wasn't being spectacular every episode. It wasn't trying to have great big space battles every episode.
They did have it great though.
Oh yeah, they did, but it wasn't gratuitous, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But the thing that I really enjoyed about Battlestar Galactica was this interconnectedness of all the stories, and then the backstory they were creating with the Cylons and their urge to develop a religion, their own identity, their own separate from humanity type of thing, really made it a compelling story and kept me coming back. And then when they did the whole Final Five reveal in Battlestar Galactica, that was kind of mind-blowing. But Westworld, it took them essentially 3 to 4 seasons to really just kind of blow me away, Battlestar Galactica. But Westworld, oh my God, the last 3 episodes, when you find out the guy is an android, he's one of them, and he doesn't even realize it, and you didn't even realize it, and just all of the and for the longest time, I mean, I didn't realize that they were jumping back and forth in time at all until they connected the old guy with the young guy, and they're the same person. And I can't remember the names now because it's been several months, but it just that season 1. I don't know what they're going to do with season 2 to up the ante and make it even better than season 1. Because
Samurai World. That's what my friends are looking forward to. I don't think they're
Samurai World. Oh yes, they definitely foreshadowed that. And I think it was like the second to the last episode in season 1, or maybe it was the last episode. No, it was the last episode because that's the 4.
I think it was second last episode, actually.
You think it was second last? I'm
yeah,
not
it
sure.
was in the middle of their big escape, though.
Right. But there's actually two groups that were kind of doing the escape. You had those four, and then you had that one girl, and I just don't pay attention to names anymore. I don't know why. I barely remember any of the people's names from Walking Dead. Rick, that's about it. I guess I just don't get emotionally invested with characters anymore.
Yeah, especially with The Walking Dead, it seems almost pointless to do so.
Oh my god, yes.
Although not as pointless as Game of Thrones.
Well, storytelling wise, there is a reason to get invested in names with Game of Thrones. And that's because of the story and the interconnectedness between the different characters and the backstory that exists. You know, it's like the whole Jon Snow is actually a Targaryen thing.
Yeah, the level of detail in that whole storyline is just obscene.
Right. Well, you
I
know
actually kind of like it for that.
Who else is probably also a Targaryen?
I haven't really been paying too much attention to it, but
okay.
which one? Well, I'm not going to watch it anyway. So.
Oh, you're not?
Like I'll watch an episode every once in a while, and I'll watch someone sum it up.
I'm a diehard Game of Thrones fan. I watch that show religiously. And I'll probably go back and rewatch seasons 1 through 6 and 7 here pretty soon.
Yeah, I might do that when they're done.
Yeah.
Like I've already had most of the story points spoiled for me, so that's why I don't really mind about spoilers and stuff like that.
Well, see, I have this. There's a fan theory that's going around on YouTube about who are the last Targaryens, and we know Daenerys is the last Targaryen, and they finally kind of completely confirmed at the end of season 7 or through season 7 that Jon Snow is also a Targaryen.
Yeah.
But this fan theory also says that Tyrion Lannister is also a Targaryen, the dwarf.
Huh. That might be interesting.
Yes. And throughout the series, there's one thing that kind of supports that notion, and that is that is not part of this guy's fan theory, but just something I've noticed in the series was that there's only been 3 characters in the whole series who have been able to get close to the dragons, and that is those 3: Daenerys, Jon Snow, and Tyrion Lannister. So it makes me wonder if that's actually confirmed. But if you didn't know about I mean, I don't want to assume that you know anything about Game of Thrones.
I know a fairly decent amount. I watched the first 2.5 seasons, and then I kind of just took a break and then watched a little bit of the last couple seasons.
Okay, Ned Stark has a sister, and she's talked about in. I mean, they literally start talking about her from the from episode 1
first season.
Yeah, Ned's sister is Lyanna, I think. Lyanna Stark.
But yeah, you're talking about Jon Snow's mom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And she and Rhaegar Targaryen, they hooked up and made Jon Snow, and Lyanna promised, or made Ned promise that he would say that it was his, so that he wouldn't be killed by Robert Baratheon. But according to some things I've read, this Rhaegar Targaryen also got with Tywin Lannister's wife, which is Tyrion Lannister's mom, and Tywin Lannister always claimed that Tyrion Lannister wasn't his kid. But if you didn't know who, Lyanna Stark, she'd been mentioned from the very beginning, from episode 1, and she's mentioned constantly. And yet she's never seen on screen. They never show a picture of her, and it is. I guess that's the point I'm getting at, is that the knowledge, or all these interconnectedness of the characters gives the story depth. It gives it, makes it feel more real, I guess. But I liked how Westworld did that same thing, and they did it in ways that are just, they
Yeah,
did it in,
Westworld was very complex with what was his name, Arthur or something like that.
well, Arthur was what's his name's partner. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pull up Westworld so I can get the cast. Okay, Arthur was Dr. Ford's partner.
Yeah, yeah, and he made the android to look like him.
Right, right. Bernard. Bernard is the
Bernard, yeah.
now. Okay. Wait a second. Luke Hemsworth was in that? Oh, never mind. Okay, yes. The Man in Black. That's what they called him. And William. That was William. Is the guy that's running around, and I can't remember who he's. It's not Ashley Stubbs, is it?
Dolores.
Huh?
William was going around like basically raping Dolores.
No, that's the Man in Black. Well, yeah, man. The William is the Man in Black,
Yeah.
and you that those two things weren't put together until like at the near the end of season 1, and it just, that totally blew me away. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was totally like the biggest reveal, at least for me, of that whole show. Because that made the show worth watching again. Because you just watch that show again and you see everything from a slightly different perspective.
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes, and I don't know. Okay, yeah, they can bring in samurais, but where are they going with this story? That's where I'm very curious. I just can't envision where they're going with this.
I don't know, Skynet.
Well, yeah, yeah. I tend to agree that they could go that way. That's for certain. They well, the implication is that, what's her name, Maeve or Mila?
Maeve.
Maeve. Okay, yeah, there she is. Okay, Maeve. She. Do you think she's going to get out of the park?
Well, the way they showed it last time is she didn't want to go out of the park. She might eventually, but I think she's gonna be looking for her daughter, for a lack of a better term.
Well, see, I'd seen a video recently. Well, it wasn't recently. It's probably a good 3 months ago. Fan theory, where they started going through Easter eggs, and they presented a very compelling case that everything she's doing has been programmed by Bernard. Well,
oh yeah, that's totally what's happened.
And that even her decision, because at the she was getting ready to leave the park, and she got off the train. I think at the end of, she didn't leave, or at least that was the implication. I need to rewatch that episode. But
well, she realized that her leaving the park was part of her pre-programmed destiny, and she wanted to fight against that, so she decided to stay instead.
Okay. I agree. For some reason, I'm thinking there was a. I'm going to have to rewatch this video because it's just been several months since I watched this fan theory. But they presented a very compelling case that, in its entirety, everything that had transpired was by plan. Every single thing. And
I don't know if all of it was, but I would at least argue that most of it was.
Yeah. Well, Ford definitely was planning on using what's her name? Dolores, I think. Yeah, Dolores. To commit suicide. He definitely planned that. You know what I'm talking about? At the very end of...
yeah.
When she went up behind him and shot him in the head. And he had even mapped that out. There was a scene where Ford is in his office, and I think it was Bernard who had come in there and was just talking to him, but in the background, oh no, it was I can't remember what his name is. Hector? No, was it? There was a guy who had a new theme or a new story he wanted to.
Yeah.
And he was in there talking with Ford, trying to get him to listen to him. And Ford had this big board laid out there that had all of the pieces. Had like little army men essentially. He had them all arranged in a formation. And if you looked at that arrangement and you looked at the buildings that were on the board, and then compared that with the dinner that it was at the end of the season, where all of those guests were arranged and where Ford ends up getting shot. And that was kind of foreshadowing. That was definitely telling you, hey, this is...
I didn't notice that. That's kind of a neat feature.
And I think that was something I saw in this particular video, but I really enjoyed the whole story. I enjoyed all the plot twists and the backstories that they were creating. The characters are complex and had depth. That's what I liked about Battlestar Galactica. That's what I dislike about shows like Z Nation. I mean, they're just one-dimensional. They suck, and sometimes sci-fi.
I haven't even bothered to watch Z Nation.
What's that?
I don't even think I've seen Z Nation.
You're not missing anything. If you need your zombie fix, I would just stay with Walking Dead. But I like smart sci-fi, and Westworld is absolutely smart sci-fi.
Yeah, I think that's far smarter sci-fi than a lot of people claim Rick and Morty to be.
I haven't really got into Rick and Morty yet. Frankly, I'm still stuck on South Park, and I never did just wholesale buy into all of the adult cartoons that you had on Comedy Central and Nick at Night, that kind of thing. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force was okay. I can't even talk. Do you know what I'm talking about? Metalocalypse? What do they call themselves? What is
Metalocalypse?
Metalocalypse? Is that what? Okay. It was okay. Mostly I would just cool music. But
Metalocalypse was pretty childish. I don't know. It didn't...
Well, all of it seemed pretty childish.
Yeah. Rick and Morty I actually kind of like, though. That one is... It's actually pretty funny, and it is kind of an intelligent show, but not anywhere near the same way that like Westworld or The Expanse is. It's more of like almost like an Orville kind of thing.
You know, I haven't watched Orville yet. Do you
Oh,
recommend it?
okay. Yeah, Orville's really good. The thing that a lot of people are saying about Orville is that like they're liking it more than Discovery, like Star Trek Discovery. I can kind of understand with like I don't necessarily agree, but I can kind of understand what they say with that because the two are very different shows, and the Orville is actually a lot closer to what the original Star Trek series used to be than what Star Trek Discovery is, where it's very sort of campy. They have some silly little jokes in there for no real reason, and the special effects aren't that great, but they still touch on a lot of these like social issues, a lot of deep thought sort of things.
Right, they're all morality tales, and that's what Star
Not all of them, but a bunch of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I might have to check it out. I have to be frank. I have not been sold on Star Trek Discovery yet. They've changed up the characters and the timeline a little bit too much for my liking. And I'm not one of these Star Trek purists either. I was okay with all the iterations of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, even the Borg in Enterprise. I was okay with that. I had people argue with me, oh, the Borg, they didn't have any, account of the Borg until blah, blah, blah. But hey, you had the Borg go back in time to try to stop, I can't remember his name now, but whatever. And
I got killed by a little grinder drone thing.
Oh shit! I'm not even on the map right now. Yep, those salvage drones are a bitch. Did that thing grind all my guns off?
I don't know. I didn't really check. I was just flying around pointlessly. Something's grinding something.
Where's he at? I want to kill that bastard.
Okay, yeah, he's right by me right now. Let's see. He's got to remember how to equip the weapon.
Okay, I'm getting out of my ship here. I'm gonna go out there and kill that bastard. Because sadly, salvage drones are the only thing that can get through my hull. Ow. That hurt.
Sorry.
No, it wasn't you.
I'll be a distraction. I'm out of ammo anyways.
Oh, dang it. The guy's going in my ship. Get out of my ship, bastard. Yeah, these salvage drones are a pain in the ass. Okay, I'm killing this battery. I tried this Reaver mod, and those things are insane. I don't know if you've ever messed with the Reaver mod before, but...
No, not yet.
I need to get my health back up here.
Okay, this guy's got no more bite left.
Well, that's good, because he already bit into me pretty good. Almost killed me. Ah, shit. Killed me. Not sure how.
It's alright.
No, it's not your fault.
Well, I was grinding next to you. That actually very well could have been me. Okay, he's unpowered now.
Okay. I'm heading back there right now. Yeah, I haven't had that happen in a while. Okay, I need to go get elite tools because these normal tools suck. And if you look in the cargo, you'll find just practically anything you want. Oh man, that just fell all apart.
So what do you think about the paid DLC stuff that they're adding to this game?
Well, I've got a wait and see attitude. I really do. I want to see them improve just the general networking capabilities of this game. I'm pretty convinced this game lives or dies on whether or not it can maintain a reasonable level of multiplayer capability.
It's kind of funny. I'm just watching this like slideshow of an attack that we had on this thing like 5 minutes ago or whatever on the YouTube right now.
Yeah, that whole delay thing can kind of be, I wouldn't say disorientating, but different. Okay, let's go drench some more so I can patch these holes. Oh shit. Didn't mean to do
there responded to the G Gears guy.
They did what?
There's a viewer named G Gears that said hi. I just said hi back.
Oh, cool.
And I guess I'm saying hi back now.
I pay so little attention to what's going on YouTube while I'm playing that people will come up and say hi, and I don't even respond to them for hours. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a bad host. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of guilty for that too. I try to have a lot of things pop up automatically for me if that happens. I don't have that set up right now though, of course, because it's not my stream. So.
Well, and this is something, as I said, this is episode 18. This is not something I really had thought about doing a year ago, and it's just literally something to pass the time and possibly have some people who want to join on Space Engineers, get to know people.
That exploded in my face.
Ouch. That's never good.
Strangely enough, it didn't do any damage.
Well, that's a good thing.
How often do you do these streams anyways?
Well, as I said, I'm only in episode 18. Initially, I was doing them every day, and I was like, what am I doing? So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this 3 times a week, and that's what I've only been doing it for a month. Maybe a month and a half. I'd have to look at the dates.
Yeah, one thing that I've started doing just to kind of keep me motivated is I've started a live stream. Started live streaming my video editing sessions. I'll be video editing a tutorial or something like that. I'll just live stream it just to, I don't know, keep me on topic, I guess. Because usually when I'm editing a video, if I'm not doing something like that, I'll just get distracted and do something else for a day or two.
Right. And I've been live streaming some of my programming that I've been doing in Space Engineers, writing scripts, creating mods, but a lot of my motivation has been just to help create and keep the Space Engineers community engaged and going, because I could really see how this game could just fade away because Keen is not doing what the players want, And I honestly believe that players want something out of this that Keen isn't giving them. And I base that mostly on the fact that I have friends who, by all rights, should like this game, but don't. And they have their complaints generally revolve around our complaints of the game. So I can't just say, oh, you're full of it, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I am a pretty good example of that. Of like, I've been watching other people play this game, but me myself, I haven't really played this game for well over a year, just because I'll check back with like random YouTube channel and be, is it stable yet? And the answer almost always is no, not really. I mean, like, features are nice, but frankly, I don't really care if they add any more features. It's already a pretty full-featured game. I just want it to freaking work.
Right.
Oh, we got a waifu drone off in the corner.
Okay.
Hi, I'm here to help. Please don't attack. That's probably where this grinder drone came from. They usually tend to have another.
Oh, yeah,
drone
that.
attached to it.
In fact, that one, if you go out there and try to mess with it, it will want you to push a button.
Yeah, and it'll be like, ow, 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 ow.
Right, then it explodes on you.
Yeah.
So I mean, it has some, because you'll get whatever it has if you're quick enough to go get it before it goes away. So I picked up some uranium from him and ammo. But all of these AIs that are spawning around here are from a mod, and you got to be careful with them. They're booby trapped, and
I kind of like that idea. It adds a bit of variety to it.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna go say hi to that little guy, anyways. I don't want to die.
Recommend it.
Might
Go
be
do
interesting.
Just watch out, because he's gonna explode on you.
And I have it recorded, so you know whatever happens might be good for later.
Sure. So what tools do you use for video editing?
Sony Vegas mostly. Well, I guess it's Magisk Movie Studio Platinum, I think is what it's called, since Sony sold that whole part of their business.
Is it a Mac app?
No, it's for Windows. Although I think they do have a Mac version.
Okay, slowly but surely getting all this mess cleaned up. I could always get into the admin tools and get rid of all this. But I do like the idea of collecting the resources and using it, so. Oh shit. You know, since you've never seen the Reaver mod, I'm half tempted to fire that thing up and let you check it out. But I have to restart the game. But these Reavers are crazy. They'll literally fly right into your ship and kind of stick to it like they're bugs or something.
Yeah, I'm about to say hello to our little pirate friend here. See what happens. Like it's having to fly towards me for a second there.
Well, when he starts to blow up, definitely back away. Good 50, I would say.
The help button.
What's that?
It has a thing on the front that says the help button. Alright, let's do this. It's laughing. Says, okay, here we go. I think I accidentally...
Now, sometimes it also will just fly away really fast, so that might be another one of the things it does. And usually when it starts to fly away, I'll chase it and grind its engines down and take all its stuff.
Hell of a lot of uranium in it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, generally speaking, it has some decent level of resources. Good salvage. Okay. All right. All damage repaired. Well, not all. Pretty close. Get some steel plates and finish this up. From my perspective, they could go even... They could go more simplistic on the graphics.
Yeah, the graphics aren't really a major concern for me. There's another one here that says deactivate your weapons and come here, or else.
Oh.
Have you messed with that one yet?
Yes, I
think I'm
have,
gonna
but
say I have that one, too.
I only do it with a ship present, because when you get close, it's bad guys are gonna come where you're at. Or at least that's been my experience thus far. Maybe it's because I went there with ammo and weapons. It's
Yeah,
telling you.
I'll try going there as myself, just in case, because it's only a few kilometers away from your base there.
Right.
You might want to have the turrets up and running.
They are up and running right now.
Excellent. Okay. I wonder why I didn't go after the grinder bot.
Well, because when you first came on board, I shut off the turrets so they wouldn't.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. That was my bad. That's all on me. Surprisingly little damage. He was only able to really take out like about 6 blocks, and that was about it. Not a very effective ship.
Well, it killed me twice.
Oh, okay, well, yes, grinders do cut through astronauts pretty quickly.
Well, I'm within firing range, and it's not shooting at me.
No, it's not going to shoot at you. And I forget what it does. I think it's going to ask for a ransom. You're supposed to bring it something. I've only encountered this thing twice. And both times I shot it from a distance and just destroyed it.
It has a text panel.
Yes, it
I've
does.
grown tired of waiting. Good luck.
Okay, here comes that. Yep, here it is. It's coming after you. And it's a cannon, a gravity cannon drone.
I'm required to report your location to nearby forces. I will meet my if you meet my demands. Ah, it's moving around. I can't read it.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to my ship. I'm gonna do a cleanup real quick. Experiencing quite a bit of lag.
This thing have any weapons aboard?
Which one?
The one that's asking for demands.
Oh, no, it won't. But the a ship has spawned, and it will be coming after you. This is a gravity drive drone. It's on its way towards your location right now. And if you want, head on back to the station. I'll have the guns all fired up, ready to go.
Commencing full burn. On my way, should be there in a couple minutes.
And I'm getting in the guns right now. Okay, here comes that gravity cannon. God, that thing's big.
Looks like the first one's gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna obliterate that thing. Okay, here comes the gravity cannon. It's zeroing in on us right now.
I'm gonna try to take a closer look at it.
Come on, gun. Get out some of these engines. Oh, there's another gun. Take that baby out. Come on. Die, gun. There, okay, that gun's
I tried to be a bit of a distraction. Got a couple shots out on me, but I'm mostly okay. 30% health left.
Excellent. Oh, you're outside. Okay. Crazy guy. Going out there with that protection like that. Get yourself killed. Yeah, if I didn't have shields, this thing would have literally decimated my ship.
I think his weapons are down. I'm not receiving any more fire from it.
Well, I'm pretty certain there's only 4 cannons on that, and I did target all 4 of them. Now I'm thinking about going out there and doing some salvage.
See if it blows up if I get close.
We might, but I think we can do. I think we can salvage this, and I really do. Oh no, I want to go down here.
Has a message on the back, hitting you like a ton of bricks.
Right, that thing's supposed to run into you and do massive amounts of damage, but generally when I encounter this ship, I'm in my Raven over here, and I'm out of ways. But
He was constantly turning to try to get to me, so...
yeah.
Yeah.
It's this mod, it seems to be smart, you know? It has pretty good programming to it. The AI doesn't do stupid things, at least not too much.
Oh, okay, busy pickle. Well, I'm glad the audio is fine at least. Yeah, video is pretty laggy. We were looking at it earlier. It looks like all of his encoding settings are right, and his bandwidth settings are fine. It's just not uploading to YouTube properly for some reason. I was just answering one of the questions in chat.
Oh, dang it! I need to go spend more time in chat.
I have a second computer that I use for capturing, so that's also what I have in the chat.
Honestly, I have more than one computer to do this, and I just haven't set them up. I'd have to bring the computer that's in the living room back into my office, and where I have my gaming rig, and I guess that's a big reason why I haven't done that yet. But I have another computer in my living room that serves as my media computer. Now I'm just taking these resources and going over to any connector and just dumping them in there.
Yeah, my inventory's full too. Yeah, the computer that I use for video capturing and stuff I got for free from one of the places I did tech support from. I just upgraded it to an i7 and a faster video card. My gaming rig, that's all custom, that's all new parts.
Yeah, I need to actually, because I've got a computer with an i5 processor and should be able to do the capture with no problem, I would think.
There's just like a random gravity drive floating in space here.
Right.
A couple bullet holes in it.
You're gonna find a lot more of those. I think this thing's got like... I don't know how many gravity, or how many of the artificial masses that it has in here, but honestly, I just haven't really done much research on this ship. All I know is that whenever that ship shows up that says it wants you to come out there and is acting like it wants a ransom, every path that I've taken with that thing so far resulted in this thing showing up and trying to kick my ass. And it failing because I have shields. If it was not, if it wasn't for the shields, I would die for certain. It would rip my ships apart. Okay, let's see here. What do we got here? Catwalk, glass, block. You know what? I don't know why I haven't done this yet. Maybe because I'm a big dummy. But down in the platform, what I'm calling my midway station, because it's somewhere around halfway between the Earth-like planet and the Mars-like planet. Down here in Midway Station, I have a grinding ship.
Oh, I'm out of power. That's why it's not letting me grind.
That'll do it. 100% of the time. I'm gonna grind the fuck out of this thing now. Excuse my language.
Don't worry, you're very fucking excused.
Thank you. Thank you very fucking much.
Video not suitable for advertisers.
Yeah. Damn advertisers. But they will advertise on movies that say fuck about 1 billion times. Okay, that's weird. Not allowing me to grind any of that. Ah, shit. Dang it. I broke my grinder. So... I always end up doing something like that while I'm out grinding. Okay, motor, steel plate. I bet I can get pretty much everything I need for that grinder right from one of these engines. Maybe not everything.
All that's left is just scrap metal.
You know, I'm not really certain. I haven't really done a good inventory of what's left in it.
Or not scrap metal, steel plates. Oh no, there's still a display here. I'll get rid of that.
Got an antenna. Antennas have radio components, so we've got 2 antennae here. We've got a bunch of glass, so we can get bulletproof glass out of it.
Found some thrusters.
Yeah, thrusters. It's got that too.
My inventory's full.
You can dump some there. I've got a little a grinder ship. It's just a couple meters away.
Ah, there it is.
I need some computer parts to complete the repairs of my grinder. Excellent, okay. I think one thing they could do to really add a lot to Space Engineers is if they could add NPCs. If they added NPCs to this game, and I'm not talking about
pretty cool.
the AIs, but
ones that can actually do anything.
Right. Exactly. But watch out for my grinder here. I don't want to accidentally grind on you. That would be kind of perverted.
Yeah, we ain't that close yet.
Yeah. I really should put a landing gear on this and secure that so it quits floating away.
Yeah, landing gear and like that nanite thing, so we can just tell that to mine it.
Yeah,
So
that would be nice.
Attach it to it, and it just does its work for you.
Yep. And that's I don't have it on this world. I've thought about installing it many times. I just haven't done it yet. Mostly because it really is a big drain on the.
Yeah, I hear the build and repair version actually. That one usually is pretty good on resources. For the nanite one, actually tends to take a lot of CPU power.
Oh yeah. Okay, what am I going to need here? I need construction components 1, steel tube 1, motor 1. Oops, do I not have the last thing? Darn it. If I can get it completed. Oh, yeah, actually I do have it. Okay. Let's get a landing gear. Oops. Auto lock should be on. Get this thing attached so this baby will quit drifting. Come on. There we go. Okay, it should be moving, or should be stationary now.
think it's just steel that's left now. I'm not seeing anything else.
Excellent.
Oh, I see some glass.
Yeah, nice do too. Let's see. Some catwalk too. Those have construction components, small tubes, and I forget what else, but yeah, I think that's it. I think we got everything we can really salvage off this. Quite impressive.
Just had some weird resync things, but it fixed itself.
Excellent. Yeah, it just happened to me as well.
Because I bumped the ship.
One thing that I've noticed is that the incidence of glitching seems to increase when a grid has damage to it. If the grid has damage, it just seems like it's more likely to have these glitchy things happen.
It's probably because the collision model has changed, and I don't think it changes accurately to what you see the deformation be.
Well, that absolutely that absolutely makes sense, because in that description or that explanation also seems to fit in with other symptoms that I've seen in the game. Essentially, things get damaged and you can't reach them. They're right there, and you're sitting there trying to grind them, and you can't reach it. It's kind of weird. Tell you what, if you want to build yourself a ship, I will remove some of my ships so you can do that. I have a ship I call the Intrepid. It's a rescue ship that's been hacked and turned into a ship that's not going to go away. It's not going to despawn, but I improved it a little bit and gave it some guns and replaced all of the light armor with heavy armor. It does not have shields.
I'm looking at it now. I am 2 antenna 2.
Yeah. But I would just essentially take that thing and copy and paste it into my shipyard world. Ever since I found this ship, the Raven, it's pretty much replaced Intrepid as far as, exploration ships are concerned.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What I'll do is I'll take a mining ship and I'll just attach it to one of my connectors on Raven, and I'll go out find an asteroid and mine it for an hour and dump all the resources in Raven, and then come back here and either put them into the battle station or put them into Midway Station here. But I just found Midway Station about, probably 2-3 weeks ago. So I haven't really, I've just started really building it up and doing things to it. So
let's see. I'm just gonna see if there's anything I want to actually create here. Probably just be something similar to that grinding drone that you had there. Not drone, ship.
Oh yeah. I've actually been thinking about building another one that was a combo grinder welder. But quite literally, most all the resources you're going to need are in the storage of this station or in the storage of the battle station. Then when you add on top of all of that, the magnesium, nickel, platinum, iron, gold, cobalt, and magnesium, silicon and silver that are all in this rock here, this asteroid, you shouldn't need to find any resources. Build whatever you want, man. You shouldn't have to mine a damn thing. That's what I'm getting at. But if you do have to mine something, you shouldn't have to move beyond this asteroid at all. Now, while you're doing that, I am... Oops. We have some bad guys on the way in.
Yeah, I believe we do. Barnacle drone. They're all barnacle drones. They're fairly close to where I am, and those are the ones that'll. They have bombs on them, if I remember.
Oh
correctly.
yes, and you get close to those babies, they will definitely blow up on you.
Looks like they're on the other side of this asteroid.
Yeah, so we're safe over there. You know what? I am gonna just leave those be, and here's why. As long as we leave them be, they're not coming back. I mean, no more of them should come at us. Or thereabouts. We shouldn't see too many more. I'm being optimistic, I know, but if we want to go take them out, just shoot them from a bit of a distance, and once you do any damage to them, they should blow up. Dang it, I'm gonna go do it. I feel compelled.
I'm just trying to remember how building ships work.
I get the feeling you're gonna figure it out really fast. Nice.
Oh, that sounded exciting.
It's a nice. I got it on video, so go check out YouTube real quick. You'll see the whole thing. Granted, probably dropped a few frames, but Okay, now that that's taken care of, I am going to go feed my cat real quick because he is really pissed.
Oh, he sounds pissed.
I usually feed them about an hour and a half before this particular point in time, about 7:30. So give me a few. I'll be right back.
All right, and I'll try to entertain the stream.
Okay, I only caught about half of that. What did you say again?
Oh, and I was saying, oh, and I'll just try to entertain the stream.
Okay. You're doing a better job at that than me, and honestly, I'm essentially looking for somebody that can help liven this up. So, thanks.
No problem. Well, I'm not being very entertaining now, am I? All right. Let's see. Can't figure out where his character is at. The heck is this glowy thing? Oh, I'm an idiot. This is the pirate thing we were looking at earlier. Oh, there he is. Found him. Wonder if I show up on the stream.
In fact, you do.
Cool.
I'm a big believer in cryotanks, so I have a lot of them. All my ships have numerous cryotanks in them. Oh, what do we got here?
Tunnel drones.
Okay, okay, that's not good.
They're hurling stuff at us. Well, free drill parts.
Excellent. That's one of the reasons why I like this this AI mod. Is it essentially it throws resources at me on a very regular basis, and all I have to do is just claim it. Just go out there and take it. Now, the thing I don't like about it is when I'm not in a mood to mess with it, then I still have to mess with it. Oh shit.
What?
Got a warhead right here. I don't know how to really do anything. What can I do with it?
I think you can grind them, but it's going so slow it's not going to detonate. Is it blinking?
I don't see any blinking on it.
If it's blinking, that means it's armed. Although I think it needs power to be armed.
No, you can actually take and put a warhead out in the middle of rock with no power source, and gosh darn it, I'm trying to get away from my stuff so it doesn't. If it blows up, it's only going to kill me.
Should be okay to grind it though.
Okay, yeah, it was okay to grind, and it didn't blow up on me.
Man, that was close.
What was?
Well, the mine just kind of showing up right by your cryopod.
Yeah. I think when the guns destroyed that, it just blew into pieces, and that floated over there. I don't think it was there for very long, though. Now, if you wanted to, I would go ahead and add the nanite mod to this world, but I do need to repair that damage. And I would imagine there's probably going to be some damage over here as well. Not surprisingly, no.
It mostly hit the rocks. Yeah, it looks like that spawn ship took a little damage though. Connector and whatnot.
Yeah, this poor baby keeps on getting damaged. Just sitting here, I'm not really using it for anything, so I've been really seriously thinking about pulling it out. Computer. And there should be... There we go. It's all fixed up. Now let's fix that solar panel over there. What's that needing? Solar cells. I think I have solar cells over here in the station. That I do. And while I'm over here, turn the purple connector back on. Okay, let's get this baby out of here. We're gonna want to take this, park it somewhere. I think for now, I'm gonna try to squeeze it in here as much as possible. So Clint, did you figure out how to build a ship again?
Not really. I think found those, like the drones came in before I was able to really figure that out. What's the button for switching between small and big blocks?
You just have to, like, say if you have a block, an armor block on one on your toolbar, just press 1 2 times and it will.
Oh, okay. You just have to press it again.
Right,
okay.
It'll alternate between large and small. And now also as well, you can roll your mouse wheel and it will start cycling through blocks as well. They've done some small incremental, I guess you might say, improvements of the interface, but one of the biggest things I've wanted them to improve, and they just haven't done it yet, is your GPS bookmark management. If you press I and go into your terminal, you got your GPS tab, and on your GPS tab you have all these bookmarks of different GPS locations, and you don't have a good solid way to be able to color code or toggle these different bookmarks on and off en masse. I should be able to take all my bookmarks for uranium and mark them as red, I should be able to filter on uranium and turn on all of my uranium bookmarks. And they don't have that built into it yet. So that's disappointing, I guess.
Yeah, they need a way to make it so you can search through those things and stuff like that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think this ship's gonna fit in there in any way. I could pull the solar panels off and it would fit in there. That's an idea. I don't really need the solar panels.
It's like nothing's piped up in here. Is it all off or something?
What's that now? What happened?
Well, I'm just trying to pull construction components out of this, but it looks like it's like off or something. I don't know.
Let's see. Well, frankly, you know what? There might have been a tube or something damaged somewhere, and it's what can happen is sometimes a cargo container or something can be isolated by a break, and you can see it, but you can't get anything from it, and that might be what's going on. I'm not certain.
Yeah, this tube showing is red. Actually, they all are. Huh.
Where at?
Like the one you're on top of, it shows as red to me.
Are you kidding me? It shows as green to me.
Oh, so it's like a client sync issue.
Yeah, looks like it.
Looks like I might have to log out, log back in, sort of thing.
No, sit down in this console and just toggle it on and off. Hit Y and. Did it come on now? Let me also make certain that you have full permissions to use everything. I don't know if I had share with...
Yeah, it's working now.
Okay, good. There's some scrap. I get the feeling we're going to have visitors soon.
What do you figure we'll have visitors? Is there a lag spike or something?
Just timing. Generally, we don't go this long without an AI showing up. Okay, let me... Oh, I'm on the landing gear, that's right. Put a landing gear right. There to secure a ship. Okay, steel plate. Two motor steel plate.
Yeah, I'm getting a few more weird desync issues. I see some ships spinning around for no reason.
Yeah, that's where I probably should go ahead and like remove this ship, this particular ship from the map, or get it out of this area.
That one's fine. It's the Raven and the other one that's flipping about.
Oh, really? Disconnect it from that connector up there, and that should eliminate that.
Well, if I can get close enough, let's see.
Okay, gotta be gentle here. Slam into anything. Oh, okay. That's fine. Fine with that. Well, that's officially the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Why? What's going on?
It's not. It's actually kind of silly stupid. It's not the game being stupid, but I've secured a landing gear to my antenna, and it's holding my ship. My ship will not move, but that just seems silly and stupid. The antenna shouldn't be strong enough to hold it.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, if it works, it works. You're right. Oh, yes, yes, yes. We need to disconnect that really fast. In fact, here, hold on a second. I can just do this remotely. Blue connector. And we just want to unlock it. Boom.
Was it jumping around for you too?
It was doing more than just jumping around. It was oscillating. And that isn't a glitch. That is kind of an emergent behavior that happens between two connected grids. See if I can explain this. It's essentially one grid starts to move, and that in turn induces a reaction into the second grid. So that grid tries to fire its rockets to stop it from moving, which in turn feeds back into the original grid, and then you can get this wild range of movements occurring that
yeah,
can be very lethal. When I first got this station, when I first found it, I had that little ship Intrepid connected to the back of it, and the station just started racing around in great big circles. Unfortunately, I wasn't close to anything; otherwise, it would have ripped it apart. But the only thing that recovered it was just severing the connection, unlocking it, and then they broke apart and came to a rest. It was really weird, and I don't know why it happens, why they can't stop it from happening, but it is what it is.
Well, I got a pretty bad headache right now. I think I might call it quits for the night.
This is about the time I usually do call it quits. Okay. I tell you what.
Jump in a cryopod or something. I don't really have anything important on my body, anyways.
Yeah, go ahead and get in a cryopod if you want. At least that way, if I move the station, go anywhere, you'll be with it. You won't have to kill yourself and respawn somewhere or anything. Now, essentially, I work 8 to 5. The server's available all day long, all night long. You're more than welcome to come and play while I'm off at work or whatever.
Yeah, I might do that. All right, so where's the cryopods?
Well, there's 2 over here. Take either one, doesn't matter.
This one looks comfy. All right, let's see how its padding works.
There you go.
All right, I'm just gonna take this chance to chill out, I guess.
You will chill.
All right, talk to you later.
You have a good one.
Okay, bye.
Okay, fellas, I think with Clint's departure, we're going to call this a night. In the meantime, we're going to work to see if we can come up with a way to improve these frame rates. We need to get them up. We've got to get those numbers up. My God, this is ridiculous. I have never seen anything quite like this in my... Well, no. I can't really say that. I've only been doing this for a short period of time, I've made a few, videos. And then just some concept ideas that I've been playing around with, this and that. Made some political videos, but other than that, you know, this is not something I do for money. I don't care to do it for money, really. If somehow I get into a situation where I'm making money at this, and that's great, great, but it's not my intent, and I just want to, show people this great game as well as show people any other games I might be playing at the time. Uh, I can guarantee you, if No Man's Sky comes out with any stupendous upgrades for free, yes, Hello Games, don't send us any DLC we have to pay for. You hear me? You dumb fucks. But this just isn't about space engineers. This is any games that happen to interest me. And but for the most part, if I'm under the Ion Stream label, it's going to be some type of space game. Got it? Okay. Y'all take it easy. We'll catch you maybe tomorrow or the day after. I don't know. I don't want to do this every day. This is, like I said, not a job. And initially I was doing them every day, but it was because I was playing Space Engineers every day. And that's not happening. So, we will catch you tomorrow, maybe the next day. Not certain, but take her easy.